you will still believe that with the microfuse, which has actually been made by a local innovator in Uganda, this is a locally made computer, then this gap is actually going to be bridged, because that is what we want in the next few years, as we want to champion a lot of strategies in the next financial year and try to look at the ICT sector as a sector that is going to shape our world. We need to focus on things that do matter. And with this particular innovation, it is going to at least bridge a gap, if at all government comes in to support our local innovator in here. Barija Andrew has the details to this one.
Ugandan company Microfuse Technologies has ventured into computer manufacturing by developing a low-cost computer to enable people like students, small business owners, laptops and laptops to own one cheaply at 200,000 shillings only. The device is a low power consumption that can enable people in rural areas execute their duties.
What we thought as a company was to design a product that can actually within that void. Yeah, so we want this to be a household product whereby most households, of course, majority of which have TVs, can access this product cheaply because it costs around 200,000. That is the starting price.
This device will, that's what I'm going to say first, because imagine having a display that is not, there are very many screens these days. You know, that gap between buying a screen that is smart and it's not smart. You may find same screen size, same brand, but with the word smart, the prices are high. Yet this device gives you more than what a smart TV can give you. So buying it and plugging it over a screen gives you, it opens you to the world of computing actually. Not even what a smart TV can do, and at such a price. I think it's a good deal.
In the past decade, there has been an increase in the use of information technology. Now not only IT professionals use computers, but also the everyday person. Barija Andrew, Smart 24.
Barija Andrew. And when you look at bridging the gap of access to computers or cheap computers or cheap computer devices or cheap ICT is what we would definitely try to look at, because all the computers that we are having are imported into the country, and with the importation comes extra taxes. So with these taxes, make it very, very, very huge, and actually make it very hard for people to actually have more of these computers or access these ICT devices. This is something that most of the Ugandans are actually calling upon to try to bridge a gap of this situation. And that is why when we are drawing into a condition of, let's say, when I was giving a case study of secondary schools, for example, or primary schools, where they have teachers teaching ICT or lessons in ICT, that is information technology. But because on when you move into the practical part of it or point of view, most of the students cannot access these ICT devices, and some schools end up having two people sharing the same computer and to make matters worse, students have to study in shifts. So when we start locally manufacturing our own, if we start manufacturing our own computers, for example, or if I may say, it is very important that we can earn from this particular venture, or we can make technology, or we can make ICT a huge sector in Uganda. Because there is a potential, there is an opportunity. Now people can easily access these computers, because accessibility is always very crucial in business. Access something, it is difficult to compete with someone who is easily accessible to it. And the world that we're actually moving in, or the world that we're currently living in, is very competitive. And most of the world economies or the governments are supporting ICT. They are supporting technology in their countries. We're competing with scientists, or we're competing with innovators who have got all the gadgets they need to come up with a finished product. Then ours, we are competing with these people, and yet we have limited gadgets, and we want to produce the same product that the other people are producing. So this is actually undermining the progress in Uganda, something that we are fighting as Uganda and the government. And speaking of which, the government has also centered on ICT and innovations, or science and technology, in the next financial year. And how did they do it? They started by ensuring that this time round they get scientists, teachers, those from the public service, and all those scientists, those under sciences, to at least get a salary increment. Why? Because motivation through salary and increase in pay or rise in salary can easily make someone execute duties better on the other round. Reason being, because when you throw back a little in the time, when we were actually thinking of competing in the market of science and technology, there are things that you cannot easily be good at. But unless the government is actually supportive, and how the government is going to be supportive on this particular matter is, one, creating space for these people. If they start up a company, how is going to value to that company? Because the people we have huge industries. They have a number of employees that are working with them. But our entrepreneurs here are solely running their details. And when you look at this particular report that we've been having, a gentleman in there, you can see a small team of entrepreneurs, a team that does not even exceed 10 people. So that also shows you that lack of human resource also undermines creativity here, because even when you are too creative and you're only very few people, you cannot come market space that has got millions of people and millions of different and millions of people who are actually in the same field, moving in that same direction. So clearly, these are things that people need to understand and people need to push in the next financial year, because probably as we continue to grow as the entire world, or as the entire country, we would think of trying to at least understand more that in Uganda, computer, ICT is the way to go in the next few years, because the world we're in is competitive, and competitive in the nature that when businesses turn digital or turn to the economic space, you have to rather to the digital space, and it's now e-commerce taking over the world. Access to the internet should be vital. But then how do you access internet? You're supposed to have a good internet gadget, or you should have a good communications gadget, a good ICT gadget that is going to ensure that you get these things right, and that you're definitely going to get all these into correct correspondency. Okay, and technology is vast, but that is just a sneak peek of what is actually being introduced into Uganda. But later on today, Friday, you will have more of this particular report in the Smart Tech Show with Andrew Barije, giving you more details on technology and how Ugandans are competing for technology spaces in the world, because the innovation world is actually challenging, but Ugandans are ready to pick up these challenges and are ready to execute this amicably well. So this is where you could want to get more of the Smart Tech tonight with Barija Andrew. You will definitely be getting all those details in that show on regards to matters to do with technology and what you might have missed from this one. So this was just a simple tip on what is actually unveiled, or what is going to be unveiled from the Smart Tech. And now let's head to the press review. And with the press review this time round, we start with the Daily Monitor. There's a lot of business reports coming in from there, and then something to do with teachers. This time round, we've got to see lecturers from public universities threatening to go on strike this time round. They also want to follow suit of the primary teachers from the the primary and secondary teachers from the arts side who are currently strike, saying government needs to increase their salary because it looks discriminatory to only increase salary of science teachers, and yet also the arts teachers are doing the same profession maybe teaching different subjects, but still teaching. And the question here is, what will today's government do as teachers want a meeting offer to work on them? And the union body, or the umbrella body for the teachers in Uganda, UNATU, did say that they're not calling down the industrial action by the arts teachers until government addresses their issues. Government says, according to some government officials, do believe that government will be working on this next financial year, but increment of science teachers starts with effect this very month. So science teachers are definitely having a good share of their cake, apparently, starting with the 2022-2023 financial year. And the arts teacher, it is simply uncoordinated, I should say, unexplanatory, simply discriminatory, or they feel